Okay, Sylvia said, how long can the process of getting the niche and clarity take? Well, in that question, there's a bit of a binary of you either have it or you don't. And so I think in that question, this is part of what keeps us stuck, right? Like, when will I fucking check the box and it's clear? Never, ever, ever, ever. It's never just that done. You'll get to a point where it's like, but there's always more to learn, and you will always have to adapt. It's the two reasons your niche will change eventually is the marketplace changes. I mean, think of all those industries that are just gone there. Blockbuster video, or how many industries can we name that just have become irrelevant? They just had to adapt, had to go online, had to change it up. So the marketplace will change, and just think about all the lockdowns in 2020. And a number of you are like, well, that old gig, that's not going to work. So your whole niche had to change based on that. But also, again, you will change, you will evolve, and you just won't be able to do it. You'll have to change it up at some point. So there's this idea of there's a fixed niche forever. It just probably isn't realistic. But also, again, you just start with what's clear, right? And you try something and you learn, and it will get clearer. But is there such a thing as like clear enough to do something? I just call it the 70% rule. If it's 70% clear, just do stuff. Just try something. But whatever you've got, try something. I would say once it's 70% clear, you have a business, start rolling with it and get better. But before 70%, you just, it's a hobby. You're trying a bunch of stuff. You're seeing what works, what doesn't work, you like, what you don't. And the more experiments you do, and the bolder those experiments are, the faster you will hone your niche. If you do one experiment in a year, and it's a fairly tepid test, you don't really try anything that's, you don't get very clear. You do a kind of mediocre, cowardly test. Okay, you're just not going to learn that much. And you only do it once a year. But if you did that once a week, bam. And if you said, you know what, over this next month, I'm going to try something every day and learn. And I'm just going to prioritize that. By the end of that month, you would have an immense amount of clarity that you don't have right now. But it comes from testing in the real world, not just theorizing. Test and reflect. You've got to have both. Because again, I've seen people who they have 20 years in the field, and they've literally never reflected on the people they work with. Now, the beautiful thing is you can catch up on that real quick. I could say, great, give me a list of, out of all your clients from the past 20 years, give me a list of the top 20 that you've loved and the top 20 who you hated. And then let's look at them and let's just see what the patterns are. You see what I'm saying? And within a few hours, you can have this robustly clear niche of just stuff that was already there. They just never noticed it. So if you reflect on what your current experience, so I would say you start with the reflection. If you're brand new, start with the test. If you've been in it for even a little bit, start with the reflection. Just like, okay, let me harvest everything that's there. Great, I've harvested that. Take it to market. How'd it go? No, great. Okay, now I'm a little clearer. Test again. And it might be one of those things where you try and like, nope, just scrap almost all of that. That was completely the wrong direction. Like the who, the what, the how was all felt off. Okay, so then what did I learn from that? Well, I think I learned I need to go more in this direction, but I have almost no clarity. Okay, we'll just start talking then. Start the conversation, start moving, and then reflect and move and reflect. How long it takes to get clear is also partly how big a priority is this for you. If it's a low priority, that'll take you forever. But if you make it a high priority, you can get there quick. A few tools though. Let me put out some tools that I think are helpful in honing your niche. One, getting some professional coaching and help on this. There are coaches out there who can do it. I do it in my puttering sessions. There's a woman, Amanda Jane, in my membership who's just been getting into this, amandajane.ca. Check her out. George Cow, I don't know, I don't think he really does much one-on-one, but I swear if you just Google niche coaching for coaches or something, there'll probably be resources out there. But just getting some professional help on this is useful because you're actually a bit disabled to work on your niche. Why? Because you're too close. You know, it's just you can see other people's niches much easier than you can see your own. It's not that you're disabled on niching, it's your niche particular. You know, we just have our own blind spots. So getting external help, somebody who's this is their job, is helping people with their niche. That's one. Number two, develop a niching practice. If you really want to get clear, like you would have a yoga or meditation or mindfulness or body-centered somatic practice, do a niching practice. The more often you do it, the faster it's going to go, the better the results will be. Exact same principle, you know. If you do yoga once a month, that's not as beneficial as once a week, and that's not as beneficial as once a day. It's better to do 15 minutes of yoga a day than like a 3-hour kind of thing once a week, probably. So just a little bit. So 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day, where I'm just going to work on my niche. And if you want some resources, I mean, if you go to my website, marketingforhippies.com/steps, if you scroll down to, let's do a screen share so you know what down up. If you scroll down on that page to number 2, which is niche, right, identify your niche, you'll see some video here, a few videos, but then where is it? Anyways, there's a number of things on niching, but you can you know, watch a video and then go reflect on it. But also just the you could make a niching practice out of just what I gave you in that ideal client workshop. There's enough there that you could have a practice for a year just working with that stuff, but just slowly, bit by bit. Number 3, get a niching journal. Get a little moleskin that the only thing you put in it is thoughts and reflections on niche. Because what happens is, right, we have ideas and then we either don't write them down, or it goes in this journal, but then there's another journal for something else, and it all gets mixed up. But if you have it all in one place, what that allows you to do is at a certain point you can do the big deep dive reflection. You know, maybe you fill it up and you say, okay, I'm gonna go to a park for 3 hours with a highlighter and a different color pen. I'm just going to go through and highlight and make notes. And you go home on your laptop and you type it up and you synthesize the best of what you got. But having that journal is a total game changer. And also have a note on your phone or something. You know, it's just somewhere that wherever you are, when you have an idea, write it down. That's the key. Have a capture system. Have a way to, and maybe it's Google Docs, maybe it's Notion, maybe it's Trello. I don't know. Use whatever the hell you want to use. As long as you have a system. This is the difference between a professional and an amateur. My brother does stand-up comedy, or did more. And one of the things I really realized was the difference between the professional comedian and the amateur is the professional wrote down their ideas whenever they had them. They literally had a little notebook with a pen in their back pocket all the time. All the time. And if they had a funny idea, they wrote it down. They might not go back and look at that for months, but it was there. The best screenwriters, when they have an idea for a scene in a movie, they might not even know what movie it is. Like, oh, this would be an amazing shot to get. Or I could just see this conversation. They'll write it down. And they got a file folder. And when it comes time, they might go through it and like, oh, is there anything from this I could pull into the movie I'm working? Oh, yeah, write this bit. But if you don't write it down, it's gone forever. And same with niche. I promise you that you're having insights about your niche all the time. But because you don't write it down, they kind of just go through. What is that? And number 4, okay, so first, get some professional help. 2, develop a niching practice. 3, get a niching journal. And you can see how the journal and the practice go together. Very helpful. That's what you use at your practice. But number 4, consider creating a niching pod. there may be people here in this program where you just get a like a WhatsApp thread together, 4 or 5 of you, and you just keep sharing your progress on your niche. It gives you some accountability, some excitement. You can cheer each other on. And the additional benefit of you don't have to re-explain yourself every time. You just learn about each other's work over time. Yeah, and you're able to ask questions like, wait a minute, are you sure that's your niche? Because remember in that Zoom call we had, you said this. Are you sure that's what you want to do? Right. And then they say, oh, you're right. I don't want to do that. Perfect. So having a pod that you can meet with, it's like going to the gym. It'll also help your niching practice because, with being healthy and going to the gym, you go to the gym on your own, good luck. You got a crew you go with or your gym buddy, you're putting on your shoes at that point because they're showing up to pick you up. You got to go. It's easier with other people. Those 4 things: professional help, a practice, a journal, and a pod. If you get those 4 things together, you're sailing.